Hey there, welcome back, guys. We're live. I kind of figured out how to fix the calculator. We don't have the right part, but we do have spare parts. So whenever you get kits like this, save the parts, the spare parts. Like we have spare parts that this came with. Instead of coming with two, it came with three. Instead of coming with one, it came with two. So we had some spare resistors laying around, and we were able to figure out how to get the meter brighter. It did say to check resistors R3 and R4, but those weren't the issue. I could see how folks can reverse that and put a, not me in there, but hold on one second. So I can see you and you can see me. There we are. And I'll just move this a little bit like that. Voila. So again, there were some issues when we did the unboxing. We always measure the parts, and one part did not measure correctly. And we figured out it should still work, but apparently sometimes that is the case. Sometimes you could use a variant and then stick it in and then it will work. But the variant that they sent us is totally off. It doesn't even measure close to what we need. The variant that they sent us when we did the unboxing was, let's see what we got here. I found a spare one. It does measure a little over, but at least it brings the brightness back up. So actually, before we begin, I need to go to our channel and activate the live stream. Activate the activator. Stuff you put in your hair. But in my case, it's what we do to our feed to get them up and running. So let me just go to YouTube. This is something you have to do when you live stream, unfortunately. Interesting. It just doesn't say which is which. But you just have to figure out by clicking on it. Yep, that one's okay. Just going to close this and then bring this up and then turn that on. Again, you can't do this from Streamlabs, unfortunately. Set this to auto recommended and save. And then voila. So we're going to see what the part they send us measured at. And then we have a spare one that we hopefully it makes the magic happen. Knowing that and moving forward, just to making sure there's nice. That's the sound of the meters like saying, hurry up, Blue, you're taking too long. Me stuff. Okay, there we go. Activate it, creating continuity. And usually when the power's off, you could measure things, which works really well. It doesn't matter, it's a resistor. If it was a diode, we would have to have the connections correct. But this one measures at, see, 2.1, which is a bummer, because it's supposed to measure at 300. You can't see, but maybe now you can. Let's see. So the meter measures at, the resistor measures on the meter at, see, 2.1, and it should measure at 330, or at least close to 300, maybe like 300 to something. It's not even close. Again, let's try it again. See, we found one. I forget which kit this is from. Some of you who follow me might remember where this is from. Could be in our last build, but this one measures at 1K, which is fine. It's over the amount that we need, because we need 300. Ideally, 500 would work well. But as you can see, this measures at 1K. And there's a big difference between the K and the 300, right? 300. This is at 2. So, and if you want to see what happens when we add a resistor that's a little bit over it, see, our display turns on. So what we got to do is, and then we have, I think that's 5. See? So what we got to do is take that one out. It's a little bit of a bummer. I feel bad for people who bought this kit because, what are the odds? Remember, this is soldering for beginners, right? So you're a beginner, you buy this kit, and you're sort of humbled in a way because you're not going to know what to do, right? You're going to assume, well, yeah, your assumption would be right, that the kit is wrong, or you did a botched soldering job. It's one or the other, and it just kind of sucks that, as a beginner, you got to watch out. Just measure the parts. If you buy a meter and the parts don't measure up, just return it. Return it and you're fine. You know, don't worry about it. No sweat off your back, and then you can just move forward when the new one comes. So this one, we need to remove those two right there. This is the tricky part, just taking parts off and on the board, as you saw earlier. This one's easier because you could do it with the soldering iron, provided I have my goggles, right? So I can see what I'm doing, but I can't see without my goggles. Where are my goggles? I hate when that happens. We have my meter, we have that, and then we have, they're all the way over there. Yeah, and it's a 300, 300 what? 300, I guess it's 300 ohms, right? And it's nowhere near the colors that it needs to be. Alexa, what are the colors for a 300 ohm resistor?
A 300 ohm resistor has orange, black, and brown bands.
This doesn't even have orange. It has red, black, brown, and some other colors. Sometimes they do that, and sometimes they will throw in the closest best thing. But this is far from the best thing because it doesn't even illuminate the LCD. So it's a little bit of a bummer. You know, like if you bought this kit and, you know, you didn't have the out-of-box experience, but we make these videos so you don't have to. And then the only issue we're going to have is like bending this at 30 degrees. And even if we bend it at 30 degrees, it's still tricky because it does not fit. The screws don't fit. So we'll have to jerry-rig that. So yeah, it's one of those kits where someone said something. Who's here? Who speaks? Okay, let's see what we got. We have, nope, must be in the other, oh wow, interesting. I don't see, oh, there we go, it's at the bottom. It's like, wait, I don't see the chat box. Just gonna go here, go to the channel, see who's here. Welcome to the channel. Let me catch up, see who's here. And tap chat. Oh, there we go. Bentley Komarowski, and we have Seferina Eula. Welcome. Yo, what's up? Hey, everyone. Hi, we're just fixing a calculator that we built earlier. I had to make it a two-part series because I had to be somewhere. So one of the resistors that they sent us, that's weird, is not the correct size. So we have to use what we have here. If we have, oh, it's over here. Always misplacing stuff. And now, are you reapplying solder? No. So it's funny. One of the troubleshooting techniques was they said reapply solder, and then the other one was like check these resistors and that resistor. But those resistors were fine. And sometimes they said, you know, you need more solder. No, we actually built this from scratch. So one of the resistors that they sent us, Slim FRR, is that it's not the correct one. So thankfully I have a spare one laying around. It's not the correct one, but it'll have to do. So we're at the right temperature here. And then we're going to remove one of them, one of the resistors that we put in earlier, sort of. This one will come out. It'll work. This is the hard part. Getting the, where's my solder? Sometimes more solder helps melt the solder. But as you can see, we're at 786 and no magic is happening because we need to get tinned. Tin. And then I wouldn't recommend doing it over because as you can see, sometimes the solder will just pop right off and we don't want that. And see, it's not grasping. Bummer. Flux could work, but I don't want to take the flux out just yet because it gets smoky and messy. So these are the two. This one and that one. Right over here. So we can caulk this, even if we caulk it. Got some off. Yay! I might use the heat gun on this one. Or the solder wick, this stuff over here. But even we need to get our tin back. I hate when that happens with the soldering iron, when it sort of goes defunct. It just means I need more flux. Who is that? What tool is that you have in your left hand? It's like a solder wicker. It's like a suction thingy. I'll leave a link to it in the description. You can check the Amazon store that we have. It's the solder wick pen. So the pen, you click it, and then once the solder gets hot enough, it sucks it up. Kind of like one of those rattlesnake venom kits that you're supposed to use to suck out the venom. But instead, this sucks out the solder. Actually, I'm going to have to turn on the fan so that the smoke detectors don't go off. But I just need to flux it out. So we just need to see my tip. No. It's salvageable. And I think I left it on when I went away for like an hour, and it just sort of oxidized. And see, we're at the right temperature, which means that the only way to fix this is if we can't tin it. Hold on. Sand it off and then put a new tip on. But we just want to get something out, you know? This is just a soldering stand. But if the solder doesn't melt and the solder is at the right temperature, sometimes, as you saw on the live stream, I don't know if you were here, we plugged it out and plugged it in, but I could feel the heat radiating from this thing, so it's not a heat issue. Basically, the tip needs a little bit of help. Needs some sanding. Damn, down. See, the solder is being held on it, but it's not working. I have another soldering iron. I just hate when I have to refurbish these. See? And it's not melting. Thermal runway. Thermal runway. It's a bummer. Just means the current. I have to see where it's plugged in. See, 600 and something is not the optimal temperature anyway. And thermal runway just means just check that. Make sure that this is in correctly, but it is. Now it's at 600 and something. And you never want to camp out on your parts. At least we were able to figure out the fix. I thought this was going to be a quick video, to be honest with you, but apparently not. Because this this soldering. See, thermal runway. Damn it. Remember they told me this before when they said thermal runway just means something with the USB-C connection thingy. Which is a bummer. So if you're spending too much time on the board and it's not melting, it could be your solder, could mean it means flux, or you have a thermal runway, which means that it's going to heat up and then cut off again because of the power. You could use constant power, which I have somewhere laying around here, but this is so much easier with the USB-C. Just means something's up with my power. I just need more power. 735, 7 something. 750 is ideal to get this to start melting. And hopefully, if not, just dip it in there. I don't dip it in the other one though. See? It's not melting. It worked for like a few hours and then whoops, then it just stopped, you know? It's the only downside. It should have melted the solder. 784. Nope. Is that melting? Yeah, it's melting. See, now it's melting, but it's not sticking to it, which is fine. We know how to fix it. Let's shut it off. Damn. I hate when this happens. Well, I'll show you. See how it's all dark and black? I left it on, probably just overheated, but we can fix that. We can get it working again. We're gonna wet this sponge and then let it cool down a bit and then sand down the remnants. Sanding it down gives it a second life. We've had this tip for a while, but if you can't afford a new one, you just get a sandpaper, sand all that black stuff off until it's shiny again, and then re-tin it. But I need to wet the sponge. 1 second and I'll text you the soldering tool. All right, here we go. All right, so we can wipe this off. You hear that hissing sound? It's hot though. And then see the tip is just way black. It's charred, which is a bummer. You know, I thought I'd buy me some time. And then now, ideally, you know, I don't want to sand over here, so I would sand over everything. Oh wow, big difference. And you can see how now the soldering iron is being brought back. All that black stuff is what you want to get off, and that's what you get off with the sandpaper, and that'll allow us to re-tin the brush and give it a few more lives. But you don't want to sand it down until it's like, you know, down straight, because remember it's hollow on the inside at the tip. I don't know if you've ever seen, but you have to be careful there. And then now we just want to bring back some shine. See, just a little bit of shine. The rest I can do later off site. I just need the tip back, you know. Once we get the tip exposed enough, you can tin it again, sorry. And after it's tin, we'll just blow off whatever remnants we have with the blowgun. There we go. That should, I still see some darkness there. This is a soldering pencil, really cool. There's a link to that in the description too, and if you go to like the Amazon store, you'll see it in my link. And then you can look for the pencil on there, and I'll also chime in and send it to you in a second. When it works, it works. Remember, I left it on. I should have turned it off. It's supposed to shut off on its own, but as you can see, it didn't, because it just charred away. All right, so now that we have our tip exposed, we can plug it back in. See how it's shiny? And because remember, it won't stick to dirt. Actually, before we do that, let's do this. Dip it in here into its crustiness. That's not the solder stuff we're using, but we use it for the tinning, and we save the good stuff for later. Then we wrap it around, and then get our little cutters right here. Dip it in again, and then put this back on, and then let it melt on. And where is our power? And don't throw out the sandpaper, because you could use it, you know, for something else. And then we can do it over here as it heats up. I'll just scoop it in. We're gonna have to use the heat gun anyway to remove the resistor, but we're gonna need our soldering iron to make the magic happen anyway. So we'll need both to puncture the holes after we remove the part. But at least we found the resistor. Oh, here we go. I'll find it in a second. Just let it melt on. Again, this is how you give a second life to your soldering iron. Yay, that did it. Sweet. Now we have a tip that's 10. Kind of neat, huh? Second life. All right. Yeah, our tip is 10. And now when we apply and let dry, we can put solder on the tip again. See, and it melted right on the tip, and that's what you want. So that's how you bring your soldering iron back to life. And it was supposed to cool off on its own, but it didn't. Apparently it stayed on and charred away, but now we brought it back. So now we can get back to work, sort of. This can go here. As you see, the issue is with the power management of the soldering iron, because it didn't do what it was supposed to. All right, I can organize everything later, and we're going to need this. There's our sponge, just in case things go haywire. And here's our resistor. And let me find that for you. 1 second, since someone did ask a question, and this is a live stream. Okay, let's go here. 1 second. Switch accounts. It's amazing when the soldering pencil does work. Oh my God. Oh no, this is a different one. I did not pay $65 for this soldering pencil. It was $29 at the time. I had it for a few years. But you know, prices do go up. It's about $40 now, probably. But it's amazing. And if you know how to fix it and how to give it its second life, you'll be fine. Because the tips are hard to find. All right. So knowing that, moving forward, these are the ones we're going to remove. So this is where the heat gun will come in. Now, I think we'll be okay. You know what? Just to be on the... we were fine. I was going to say just to be on the safe side. This one should be tighter, but it's all right. It'll work. To remove the chip, but we're okay. We are all right. But if you've never done this before, I would recommend removing the chip. Because remember, you're applying heat in places that don't need, and they get hot. And if they get too hot, then you're shit out of luck. You know what? You could never be too sure, right? So let's remove the chip. And just so that to play it safe, pry it up. See? Voila. Not that it can't handle it, but you never know. We've blown shit up on the channel. Alright, so we got 2 holes, and we need to put the correct resistor in. Yeah, it's a bummer that they sent the wrong one, but we knew in the beginning when we measured it, right? For those of you who were watching, we just assumed that it was going to work, or I just assumed. Someone probably knew. We always have someone watching in the shadows that's like more experience, and they know when they just watch us hang ourselves in silence, which is fine. The observer, we call them. I like to watch. All right. So this is the tricky part right here, because I'm trying to get this in the right position, so that because the buttons are in the way. That's why. Now I have to apply. And remember, we just want to be able to... This one definitely needs tightening, but I don't have my Allen key. I have one over there. Hold on. I just need to make something a little tighter. Let's see. Hopefully that'll work. See how it's just sliding down? It's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to hold its own weight, but apparently not that one. And then put it up. Oh yeah, there we go. See, it should hold at any angle up to like 120 degrees. All right, and then it should be moved. Well, it shouldn't be that hard to move, but it should move by pressing it. We've had this for a while. It's probably, there we go. Okay, now we're not moving forward. You can make your final tweaks or adjustments later. And let's see what we have here. Now it's just a matter of finding that right angle and tool, right? So you can pry everything out. Okay. Tweezers could be ideal. We're using a heat gun. There it is right here. And we're going to swap parts from there. And then maybe, hopefully, we don't have to sand anything again. And now we're just going to turn on the heat gun. The heat gun comes in handy because it kind of allows you to have that extra hand. Right, of course I'm not applying the heat yet, but trying to get it in the angle straight's not going to work. That works well so that I can pry it out. Definitely need new tweezers. Oops, don't break your stuff. See how the tweezers, yeah, I should just order new ones. So we'll just apply heat here. And if we can, you know what? That's where this one will come in handy. It should come out. Okay, hold on. I just need to get the right angle. So tricky. So we can finagle this so that does that. Finagle this so that goes in between there. And then as you can see, these tweezers are bent. Well, I don't know. Definitely not from me. I definitely don't use my tweezers like they're screwdrivers. But probably my kids. They come in here too. I don't mind, but just tell them don't. Wow, that's really bent. Touch my stuff. So, I think Ivy came in here one time. She did a live stream. Yeah, I remember that. She was messing around. She was doing some bug experiment. Now I got my tweezers back to some extent. Okay. Just need to pry these in at the right angle. There, we got it. To some extent, broke off, but that's all right. Because then we can just apply the heat where needed and pull it out with the other tweezers. If we have, I know we have, it's just a matter of finding them. Things are never where you want them. Need the ones that are curved like these, but without the turn. You need them. Maybe I'll just order new ones. Okay, so now we can put this at the correct angle. Apply the heat and pull it out. And the rest can be done with the soldering iron. If we can. really tricky angle because the parts are there and we don't want to ruin it, you know? And that's why. We don't want to apply heat where it doesn't need to be. Yay, we got it. We got one. And then we have the part that's broken. You could most likely get with the soldering iron, but it's alright. It's the meter shutting off because the time is up. Actually, we can get the other one with the soldering iron. Alright, so this part is a little tricky. I just need my solder wick. Where's my solder wick? I feel like Mr. Magoo, I can't see. Okay. Just gonna put our solder over here. Keep it clear. Don't want to accidentally melt it. And then find my solder wick pen. And we were just using it a second ago, but I'm just gonna check the parts. Make sure everything's okay. Oh wow, nice. Looks good. Okay. I have one there. We don't need the meter right now. I'm gonna use this one right here. Whoops. Okay, so what you do is you click this like this, right? And then you, if you need glasses, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then now we wait for this to get the correct temperature. As you can see, it's sleeping. It sleeps when it sleeps, and then when it doesn't sleep, it doesn't sleep. It's so weird. Because before it cooked itself, we had to sand off all the char. So, but we do have an emergency soldering iron that works. So now, hold this over there. And then what we'll do is once it reaches its right temperature, we'll just poke this right through and then it'll be alright. Just melt it at home. Melt it through. Just want to make sure that this is ready. And then once it pokes through, and that's why you don't want to camp on there. Just showing you what we're going to do, and then we're going to put that one in. And then once that one goes in, we're fine. Remember, it has to get 750. And then just double check everything. I'm gonna try that one. Like an acrobatic act. Really tricky. We're at 712. 712 might work. See? And then we caulk it. And once we see it, voila. And then we do the same thing with the other hole. Caulk it away from the parts so that you don't accidentally whatchamacallit, so you don't accidentally melt, you know, apply too much heat and melt the plastic. In this case, I need the one with the angle. Things are never around when you need them, right? Never happened to you when you want something and you need it, it's there. And then when you don't need it, it's there. And then when you need it, it's nowhere to be found. This one should pull right out though. No, it needs to be at the right angle. We used to have so many of these lying around on our live stream. There we go. And then now, I should be able to pull it out. See, it's right there. Yay. Sorta. Not quite. See? We need to be able to push it through. Got it. Just make sure when it falls you can find it. Otherwise, you can bridge your connection and blow shit up. All right, knowing that, moving forward, this one should work the magic. You know, even though it's not the right, you know, the right resistor, but we had one laying around. A little more robust, but now I just need to make the hole a little bit bigger so that the part can come through. Make way, make room. Right. This one's going to require some suction because the hole keeps closing up as we protrude through it. Keep your finger on the trigger. And then, it's so tricky. That's why you need the helping hands. But in our case, got it. You could feel the suction. Great. To some extent. Might have to protrude it on this side. This one's a stubborn one. I think we got it after this. We can somehow... it's like a bad game of Twister. Got it. Yay. Okay. Totally clean. Now, if you had a soldering iron tip that was like burnt in the beginning, you'd be camping on there and you'd ruin everything. So that's why you always want to make sure that your tip is tin, because if it's not, you're not gonna be a happy camper. You know, you're gonna be stuck trying to finagle it to make it work just right for you, and nothing's going to work. Now this will work, but it's going to be tricky because it's not, remember, it's not the right size, you know. But as long as we can get it in there, this is a jerry rig approach, because look, if we turn it on, let's see where it should work, because it's connecting, like it's rubbing against everything. And if we go get our parts, so right here, it should power on, give us the light we need on the LCD screen. Sort of. If we solder it, the other one worked. Maybe if we left the other one and put both on, it definitely needs the right resistor, you know. A little bit of a bummer. And of course it needs the brains, you know. Without the brains it won't work, but we got like a little bit of something, you know. It's possible that the brains help everything happen, but I just don't want to short it out. And then now make sure everything is golden. And then, yep, nothing. And then now we put the LCD back on. See? We get the light that we need. Of course, it takes a while for it to reset, because you usually see that in the beginning. And to reset it, just take the battery out and put it back in. If we do this, watch. See? And then it reset. And then we have the power we need. And this is 5 times 5. We should get 25. See? Voila. I'm not sure if we put another one in. See? We just need to solder it. But the resistor that they sent us is not the correct one. So, you know, we could make it brighter, right? But we don't want to short it out. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, the other see that we just have to find. I wonder if I have another little one. I mean, I could take one off, a little part, right? I don't know. What do we got? This is where your bag of spare parts comes in handy, right? If you have one. But we just wanted to finagle it, because remember the resistor is too big, right? So we're sort of jerry-rigging it to fit in there, and we just want to get it just right visually, you know. Let's just do this. Hold on. If we can, just want to bend it so that it looks pretty. And then see what else we can find. Oh, you know what? Let's take one of the ones they sent us, right? That could work. The extra ones that we had, maybe. This is what's this one? I can always measure it. This one's probably maybe a 10K or a 1K. I'm not sure. But because this one's just too big, it doesn't even fit. Everything is so micro on the other one. Sometimes that happens, you know. Okay, let's try that. See if that. See, this one we're not going to know. That's the other problem. And see, look, the ones they send just don't do justice. Of course, you could reset it to turn it on, which is what I'll do. Reset it. It's on. And there we go. Except we can't see anything until we actually turn it on. See, we have our numbers really faint. That's how we know that the resistors they sent us don't work. And it's going to be the resistor, right, with the resistance, the most resistance that give us the flow that we need. If you have a meter, you're fine, you know. You're like, wait, what number is that? It's okay, we can measure them later. These two definitely is not the ones, but I think, you know, what have we got to lose by trying? Remember, resistors don't matter which way they go in. They just create resistance. See? That one will work. Sweet. So we'll use the smaller one that they sent us, right? Remember, whoops, it's supposed to be a, oh man. Yeah, it's supposed to be a 300. Let's see what number what this measures out to. So we'll use that one. This one measures at, I'll do it on the big one too so you guys can see. You know, you're like, it's so nice. Because the other one's just way too big and I don't want to butcher it. We always get that error in the beginning, test in progress. And this one measures at, oh wow, 1K. Okay. Similar to the other one, but it's just bigger. And then if we measure it with the meter, so 1K will work. Hopefully, right? Doesn't short out on us. Turn this on for those that want it on the big screen. Remember, resistors don't matter left or right. Oh, except you need power. And then hopefully that'll work. This one's a 1K. So this one's 0.991K. That's fine. It's supposed to be a 3 or 400, but it just doesn't do justice because we don't have it. They didn't send it. But they sent us some other weird number. If you go back and watch part 1, you'll see that some other odd size. It's not even it doesn't even measure to what it needs to be. Anyway, knowing that, moving forward, we got everything moving, and the other hard part's going to be finagling this thing to fit in its case because the screws don't match up, and not because of us. It's because of the build. So now we can melt the solder. Okay. Where is the solder? Right here. All right. And then now we have to get it. It fell asleep. Usually this wakes it up, pressing it instead of plugging it out. And then again, but for mine, I have to hard reset it every now and again. So we need it to get to 750. In the meantime, while that's heating up, we can. So we're using a 1K instead of a 300 and something ohms because it just doesn't work, you know. And then it says to bend this at 30 degrees, which is a little bit tricky, but we can just bend a little bit at a time, hopefully, right? Without breaking it. It says to do it like this, which is just crazy. See? Bend it at that angle. That angle is hard to get, but we'll be all right. Then we'll set 650. Don't need this anymore. Should keep this handy. And then now this comes in handy too. So keep all your parts because you never know when you're going to need them again. Like this worked, but it's just too big. And then I just take some solder. 740. So it should start melting now. Yay. Let's turn this one. Sometimes. Yep, we got it. Then we can just use the pen to, solder wick pen to get the remnants off. Because, oh, I guess it is fine. Sometimes everything looks 3D-ish in the goggles. And it's not. Everything's fine. And then now, we can Yay. Got it. Okay, cool. That takes care of that. I can plug out the soldering iron because we're done with it. Now we can just hard reset it by taking out a battery. Right. And then put that in. Actually, I should have hard resetted it while this thing was on. See? Yay. It's starting up. But, you know, again, hard reset it when this thing's on. When the LCD is on there. Otherwise, it's hard to reset. See? And then it'll shut off after 30 seconds. Great. Now we have the numbers and all the other fun stuff to build. So we got it fixed by using an alternate resistor. You know, ideally, it could be brighter if we had the right part, but we don't because they didn't send it. So sometimes things go splat. So, you know, that's fine. And it's nothing. It's just some sticky stuff we can get off with tape. Actually, we can do that now, right? So it's working, which is great. And our next hardest part is going to be putting it in, because if you watch part one, nothing fit because the screws didn't line up. And not because of us, but because of the kit itself. Nothing seems to align. It does say bend it. Wow. I mean, not this part, but the other part. So this, right, even if we bent it, it ain't gonna work. But we could try. So now we know it works. Now we know if it don't work, it's because we broke it. Wow. We just need to get it at that 30 degrees. I should keep resistors in one bag, right? And then, yay. See? Wait for it. It should auto-correct or self-correct. Press the power button. It's just a glitch with this that only happens the first time you put the LCD screen on. And so, like, if you don't want it to happen again, you could just move the battery, right? And then now it's hard reset, and then now it turns on. Why it does that, I don't know. Probably because you're not supposed to put the, you know, the screen on while it's still active, but it's going to be tricky because we got to get that in there, right? And in here, unless we just leave it on, right? And then we need a screwdriver that will fit in there, like that one, or the one that strips your screws from the Nintendo Switch. Maybe. I don't know. Let's do one. If we can find them. We have that. Move this over here. Yay. There they go. So we don't need this anymore since we're done prying away at all the pots. And now we just need to just see how it'll screw together. But before we screw it together, we got to put the buttons in according to the way they're supposed to be. But I just want to see how this would screw in there. It might work. But even if it does work, look, see right here? These have to go. The back. So even if you're going to be jerry-rigging the back, so we're going to have to apply pressure. But look, see, it works. And if we can get that angle a little bit better, the LCD screen might be a little bit more flusher, but it still works good. So the hardest part is going to be closing it. We could bend it a little more, I think, maybe. Yeah, whoops, maybe. Because remember, these have to line up, right? So that we can get them in there. Yeah, it might work. I don't know. It might. See, it shut off, but that's because after 30 seconds it shuts off. I think we might be able to bend it at more of an angle, but even if it's bent as far as the angles allow us, the screws won't match. That's the part that sucks, because I could try bending it more, but I don't think that's gonna do justice, you know. Soldering iron's unplugged. Because even if this is bent exactly to 30 degrees, it don't matter, because it's not gonna, it will be at the angle needed here, right, which is great. So it's at that slant, so that it sort of like looks like that. But then we'll have that, see if that hard resets. Maybe. But you see, then you don't get here. See? Might work. Might do justice. All right, let's do the numbers and worry about that later. But remember, before you do anything, 1, make sure it hard resets, and 2, when it does hard reset, that you have your buttons in there. I wonder if that'll work. We're just testing it out to see if it'll close, you know, because there's a lot of, it's not like a 3D print where the guy who created the STL file thought of everything. So the shit just works when you put it together. This does require jerry rigging, you know, unfortunately. So we're trying to jerry rig it now before we close it. We could do this. We could, right? Since we know, I wonder if these touch anything. No, they don't. This isn't so bad. Nothing there. Nothing there. Very interesting. So these, right, will line up like there, and then they protrude through, and then screw into these holes right there. So basically like this. Right, and then that would screw in, but nothing, unfortunately, screws to the board. Alright, well, it is what it is, right? What can you do? Let me just double check that on the instructions before we start cutting away. Yep, that's bent at 30 degrees. That's bent. Batteries are in. You could use, the screws go in there to secure the LCD screen. Alright. Which is fine. We could do that first. Let's secure the LCD screen. Right? Make sure it's at the angle needed. And then now most of the little screws should go into the screen. So there should be 4, and the longer screws go into the back. Yay. Except needs to be able to come apart, which means we got to bend it again. Because look, it's not going to close unless it's at that angle. you know. So we do have to bend it. Which is a little bit of a bummer. But this can't be put on. I wonder if it goes flush. It could go flush. But you see, that's flush there. And we got it bent as much as we need to. Or have to. That's the meter shutting off. The good thing is that these will bend, you know? Again! Well, we know the calculator works. The reason why I keep saying that is because if it doesn't work, it's because we broke these pins with our brute strength. See that? It's just flush. It's not like a 3D print where shit just goes according to the angle. It's like we just keep bending it, but it's like every time we bend it, it's like it was meant to be screwed on with this thing right here, with its brother from another mother. See, and then it's just not flush. See that? Maybe just we don't screw it in. I don't know. Anyway, let's do the numbers. All right. So just wasting too much time. Well, I used to give us 2 sets. We have a mode. Keep this in case you need, I guess, to take it apart again or something. Okay. Here go our buttons with its little thing. That's why we can't seal it, because we need to put the buttons in there. Maybe glue them on or tape them on. We do have some glue. Maybe glue. I don't know. And hopefully these are the numbers. Oh yeah, nice. The numbers are in working order. So, which means that we can cut them and then put them where they need to be. So let's say this is the AC on. And then just work our way down. Shouldn't matter which way they go. It would have been nice if they gave us some sort of adhesive, and then you just put this in like that. See? That's AC on. Power on. Sweet. See? Voila. Don't take off any of the plastic until later, even though I did. You know, too late for that. But we have other issues. The freaking LCD doesn't really fit in there. Not because of me, which is good. Sometimes, you know, no one's perfect, but freaking, oh, what was this? I think this was backspace, right? I was like, wait. I mean, you can always take it off and put it on the way it's supposed to, but this one's probably delete, I think. See? Yay. See? A little off, but it's alright. It'll straighten up once it's in its square root. Just do one at a time, unless you're like a super whiz and you can memorize where all these buttons go. or just no, right? Just need something to push them in. As you can see, we cut it according to the line, but it's a little bit too big. And that one was a little bit too small. And then forget about too small. Oh look, square root. Yay. Go back, delete, IC on for clear. Sweet. Mode, because remember there are different modes on here. Let's take one. We made our own calculator. We could make it like a naked calculator because it should don't fit in the case that they made for it. You know, we have it bent to the 30 degrees, which is great. Didn't foresee that one though. And this one's the mode button. And we can test it out. See, and there's the mode. So how do we get out? Yeah, just keep pressing mode. I see it shut off because it's been longer than 30 seconds. Hopefully it didn't shut off from the mode feature. It's weird though, because what if I was using it, right? And I was in the middle of something. So I guess 30 seconds is 30 seconds. If you're not using it for 30 seconds, it doesn't matter. Once the time's up, we'll time it. We'll do some calculations on there. See if it holds up longer. Whoops, and then 30 seconds. Division. Who doesn't like division? Remember division? I hated long-term division. My kids do it now. They're like, look, Daddy. I'm like, yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, like literally. And then division would be, just double check. So do 5, see, divided by a little slash. Oh look, like a little hint of blue on there. That's pretty cool. Right? So it's a bummer. We have no guarantee with these kits that we get, the DIYs. Because one, you can do a botch soldering job and it won't work. I don't know where violet gray. Huh, interesting. Oh, probably this goes in the middle. And just cut these numbers off. So you'll probably glue these violet gray numbers, probably for the resistors, measuring resistors or something. Good luck with that, though. So 7 will go. See, because you have to, even if it was violet gray, it won't fit. So I'll just strip it off, and it just won't fit. See, even this one doesn't fit in there. Just don't fit. So much for 7. Look at that. I cut it according to the line, but it don't work. It's fine. There's 7. We'll just run the other strip across, you know, like. This one should be 8. Where is 8? We have 6. Let me take the other one. Or not. It's fine. That one's 6. That one's 7. 9. 8. 7. 4. 5. That one's 6. can't even pick that one up. This is 9. So we'll put 9 in there. See, you have to squeeze it in. It just doesn't fit. And we could redo it, right? Could do this. Leave the 7 as is, right? And then just take the, this is another number that's stuck. So it's nice that they give you 2 sets, because what we can do is we can cut everything out. Maybe this one will fit, right? Because we cut everything on the line. And then here. And then cut it again. See? And then take it out. It should come off easily though, if I remember, with these kind of buttons. The other issue is using tweezers to pull them out. Pin might work. Yeah, pin works. Whoa! Whoops! Watch your eyes. Shit goes flying because of the pressure that's built up in there. And then now, this one might work better. Fit in there to some extent. Looks a little bit better using the other one. I guess that's why they give you 2, because I probably know one will fit and one's not going to fit. Great. So we have our division. So we have 8 divided by, and then we'll cut out the next one, which is white 9. These are for resistors. So I guess to measure resistance in ohms. I don't know. Look at that. They send you the color code for measuring resistance in ohms, and they don't even send the right resistor. Go figure. We can get number 7 ready. Even though we have a 7, we'll just pop it out and put another one. Hopefully, see, it doesn't fit. Damn it. You know what? Just jam it in. It's fine. To some extent. The violet part's a little bit bent, but we'll just make it work. Make it work. Alright, and then now, see? A little bent in there, but it's alright. We got this. Oh, nice, that one came off. Which means that this one might be stuck on. It's fine. See? We just have to make sure they're straight when we put them on. Next one is 8. We could actually maybe take this off. This one should come off. Don't need that one anymore. I can put the pin back. So Now we just need to pick that up and then cut the next piece. Just want it to be maybe this will work. See, we cut them accordingly to the way they said to cut along the line, but it doesn't work. Don't fit anyway. And then we have 9. It's white. Sweet. See? 999. Except we have to line that up correctly in order to get it to work. And that one is plus equals dot 0 9. And then clear. So we'll do 9 dot. See, the point works. So now we're doing times 6, 5, 4. Sweet. Times is gold. Can't make this stuff up. It doesn't fit. Just squeeze it in, right? Use the flathead. There we go. Interesting. This one doesn't fit, but we have to make it work. What number is that? 4, 6. Just looking at the numbers, seeing how far I can go. There. It's going to be a big mess to clean up, tell you that. And all this stuff. But I'm definitely going to keep the spare parts. Because as you can see, we were able to recycle the parts from the older kit into this one. Okay. On mode, AC mode. These are just different numbers. As long as they work, we're fine. You know? Just need a 4. See how 1 is yellow? And you have 4. There's different variations of numbers. Can't make this stuff up. They were like, let's put as many calculators in there as we can so they can get confused. Yeah, I'll just do 4 yellow. I just don't want to mix up the colors. We have a red, we don't have a red. Is that even right? No, that's right. 4 is yellow, then 1. So we're using the right one, sort of, but I could always use this one to follow along what they're doing. This is when they have 1 is brown, 2 is red, 3 is orange, 4 yellow, 5 green. Yep, alright, so we're following along with this one. Sweet. 2 more. Was 5 green? 5 should have been green, right? Doesn't really matter. 5 green and 6 blue. Okay. Could redo those later. Anyway, you get the idea. You know, I'll fix those later before I put everything back on. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but we can just maintain context since we're never going to use that. 5 and 6 of blue. Okay. So we'll just put the other ones on since we're using the other, other variant of the kit. So just pry it open like this. Probably want to have to take off a yellow, right? In order to take off the 5, since it's on, it's kind of like the Rubik's Cube, So 4 is fine, but we need to get to the 5. Because 5 we're going to make green. 5 we're going to make green. So we're just going to cut this number 5. Yay. And of course the 6, whoops, where did it go? We just dropped it. It's over there. So we can't put the 5 in until we remove the 6. Times, what's times? Times is silver. Damn, we got one more to do. Thankfully we should be able to just pop off the, if we can. Okay. We'll use that later. See? Yay. And 6 we'll take out. Since pin works well. Let's not leave it in there. It should come out though. Yay. Got it. 6 is blue. Nice. See, even though it's even, it just don't fit. It's fine though. And the X marks the spot. Where's X? Do. There's X. Oops, don't break your stuff. Move that down so it looks prettier. As pretty as it's gonna look when it's over. I'm going to have to do an intermission because I have to run out for a second. I need to go to the post office and get a box for a package that's going out tomorrow to one of our viewers / subscribers. Pack it today, make him a video message, and then tomorrow he will get his shipping number. But I want to be able to write on the box and send them a little something extra too. So just hold on, and I will be back to continue right after these messages, because we could still have more numbers to put on, and there's no way I'm going to finish that in time and still make it to the post office. So I will be back in a jiffy, really after 2 intermissions. Okay.
Sometimes I feel my heart is dead. Maybe tonight, baby, babe. are flying up above. We both need a little love. Hiding a million different things, waiting for the nighttime to see what it brings. And I'm still living deep in my head, and sometimes I feel my heart is dead. Maybe tonight, baby, could I love instead? Yeah, I'm still living deep in my head, and sometimes I feel my heart is dead. Maybe tonight, baby, could I love instead? Yes, I know we're not the same. I'm so tired of playing games. You don't have to be so hard. Just tell me your dreams, the things you like. What turns you off, what makes you doubt. I'll tell you my deepest secrets, I wanna let them out. Hiding a million different things, waiting for the nighttime to see what it brings. And I'm still living deep in my head, and sometimes I feel my heart is dead. Maybe tonight, baby, could I love instead? Yeah, I'm still living deep in my head, and sometimes I feel my heart is dead. Maybe tonight, baby, could I love instead? It's a beautiful day at the beach. I was losing my mind for about a week, until I could call you up. I'll meet you at the waterline. Birds are flying up above. We both need a little love. Hiding a million different things, waiting for the nighttime to see what it brings. And I'm still living deep in my head, and sometimes I feel my heart is dead. Maybe tonight, baby, could I love instead? Yeah, I'm still living deep in my head.
Great, we're back. Kind of neat, huh? Was able to get the boxes for Bob's stuff. Make sure everything fit for tomorrow. And yeah, that's it. So 1 is brown, 2 is red. Just pick up where we're left off, sort of. If I can find my scissors. And then squeezing everything in, right? To make sure that it actually fits. We're never going to use those colors, but I just want them to be in sync. Because who knows, we might wind up giving this away. As long as somebody pays for the shipping. But this one really isn't worth. Well, it is worth, because you know why? We built it. So if you can't solder, this will work out just right for you. You got a handcrafted, hand-built, and you just pay for the shipping. I don't make any money on this, to be honest with you. Maybe on the stream, But that's about it. You know, like what, $5? I don't even make back what I put into this, but the time and the effort, I love, as you can see, I love doing this. I hate the troubleshooting part, but you know, that's the most challenging. And if you don't know what you're doing, that's where a multimeter comes into play. You know, you gotta measure the parts before you put them in, because as you can see, and if you have a spare one lying around, kudos to you there, because that will make your experience even better. Sweet. We know that the screen can go brighter if we had the right resistor, but you know, we got what we got. Luckily we had one. I was about to take one off of one of the other parts, to be honest with you. I was about to take something apart. And then just check the numbers before you put them on. Like just press clear and then press it. We know that's 3, that's 2, and that's 1. So why was I cutting up a number that was no relevance or meaning? So we need a 3, right? Had no relevance or meaning to what. Sometimes you just get tired, you know. So that should actually be minus. Hopefully we cut up the right minus. Minus should be none. It's fine. It is what it is. It's so small. I can hardly see him with my glass. We'll just make. Excuse me. Why does it smell like flux? I'll just see. That one may get lucky and fit perfectly in there. But even if you cut it on the black line, it doesn't matter. Maybe if I had like a paper cutter. Could be silver, could be none. You decide. I'm just going along with the what I have here. Just swap it. What's X? Yeah, X is fine. Hate when that happens, because then I could have just popped a new one in there. See, but some go in easily and some don't. So not always it's gonna work. See, they just don't fit on there. Bummer. Gotta watch where they fall, especially if you got a big mess like this here. Bob, we got your box. Your package will go out tomorrow. We'll pack it up on this live stream or another stream. Move this since that looks a little bit crooked. Move that. And then move this. Yay. Who's there? Emily B9P50. Hi. We are fixing a calculator. They sent us the wrong resistor, so it wasn't working on part 1. So this is part 2, where we're putting it together. We found the spare resistor from one of our other kits. As you can see, it's in there. It's not all the way down like we wanted it to be, but that's okay. You know, it works and it'll still close and everything. We could apply more heat with the soldering iron and push that down, but that's all right. So then we got a few more buttons to put on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more buttons to cut. So it doesn't Oh, they must have pressed the mode button accidentally. So it works. At first we thought it was the soldering joints. Then we thought it was many things. We troubleshooted. But we kind of knew in the beginning. We always test the parts with the multimeter. And when we tested the first resistor with the multimeter, it had nothing to do with what the measure. It was supposed to be a 330 resistor. And it was far from it. And so we still built it and put it together, I guess hoping that it would just work. But it worked, it turned on, but the LCD screen was so faint that you couldn't even see it. I don't think anyone saw it except for me. You guys probably thought I was lying to you. Sometimes people do that, like it's there. But yeah, you couldn't even see it. And so now we can see the LCD screen. But the kit is designed where it doesn't even fit into its own case that came with it, which is a little bit of a bummer. But we'll get it to work. We'll jerry rig it. We'll make it, because you're supposed to bend the LCD screen at 30 degrees, and then supposed at 30 degrees it should fit. It does fit, but good luck getting it out without taking it apart, unscrewing it again, because if the batteries die, that's the tricky part. So, but we'll get it in there. We'll squeeze it in. Welcome to the channel. Borsdry Bostria. JoJo reference. Hey, what's up? Swedish Forge is here. Hey, what's up, Swedish Forge? We got the calculator working. Isn't that cool, huh? It was the resistor. Swedish Forge was here on the first part of the stream. He saw us. These little things. It would have been nice if it came with not just the parts that work, but freaking buttons pre-made. That's all right. It's fun. Tomorrow we'll have 3D prints. Continue with our lady. And this is number 1. We're almost done. Kind of neat, huh? Build your own calculator. You can go back and watch from the beginning if you like. What numbers are left? The ones that need to be cut. Just be careful, because you don't want to scratch the button from the inside. So just take it out from the corner, and then we're almost done. We've been saved. And again, that's why you need a multimeter. Don't trust that just because the kit came with everything, it's going to work. And whether it's the parts, could also be, could also be, oh wow, interesting. Oh, this must not be the right one. There we go. Black is 0. I was like, wait, these numbers don't make sense. Comes with 2 different versions of numbers. We're never going to use the resistor calculator, especially since they sent us the wrong part. Might not even have the right resistance needed to do the calculations necessary. We'll test out the other calculator features like multiplication, times tables, see if we can do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You ever do that? I think if you do 5 plus equals, right, and then it should do like it should just auto multiply. I don't know, we'll find out. Got a few more buttons and we're done. 3 more. What number is that? 0.0 equals, and that would be plus. I hope. Yep. Or clear. If it lets us. Whoops. Yay. It does look kind of cool naked. 3 more buttons and we're finito. We do videos like this so that when we build a drone, this kit costs like $10. The drone can run anywhere between $300 and $400. So if you blow it up, you're out $300-400. The flight controller alone is like $50-60, even more now with tariffs and stuff like that. So that's why we do these. We make these videos so you don't have to, but that's why we do these, to help you level up, so that when you're ready, we'll be ready. I think we'll be ready in March to work on the drone. Take that baby apart, put a new flight controller in there, reflash it, hopefully, and then you guys can follow along and build your own. Just get the parts and all that other good stuff. I'll leave a link in the description, but it'll be fun. Or maybe work on your existing drone. Maybe you have a similar predicament like me, and you need to fix your drone. Well, this is where we do it. What's the other one? So 2 more and that's it. This is how we do it. And now, these frickin'... Tomorrow we'll be printing Our Lady. I might leave it naked. I don't know. Whoops. Like, what do you guys think? Leave the calculator naked, or should I put it in its case? No. They do that with drones. The naked, what was it? The naked, I forget what it's called. Naked camera, naked 04. I think it started off with naked 04, and then they did naked, then DJI just came out with their own 04 air unit, which was completely naked. And then that one is 0. 6, 5, 0 is black. Oh, that one definitely needs some cotton, which makes it lighter. In this case, it kind of hurts your hands, to be honest with you. When you touch the bottom, unless you've got like a foam, some foam, put it on like a foam thing, but then that would create static and short it out. Oh, it is what it is. Yay, we finished. Well, sort of. We just need to put it back together in its housing unit and push this in. Take the A button out because it's in upside down. All right, and there we go. It's like the Rubik's Cube. It comes apart really easily. So now we just need to make everything even, and then it has to fit. Oh wow, interesting. We have to align the numbers so that they can go into their holes, so that this thing can close. But you see, it's not even gonna close, if you ask me, and not because of me. Doesn't even fit in its case. So I might have a naked calculator after all. Are you kidding me? That's even at it bent 90 degrees. I mean 30 degrees. Maybe. Maybe if we finagle it right, like play with the buttons a little bit so that they fall into place, at least. You can't make this shit up. Well, at least it works, right? You gotta give them credit for that. And if we can somehow AC on, remember clear. Where's the clear button? Mode, back, none. This one should be clear. Where's clear? There's no clear button. Oh yeah, that's the clear button. It just wasn't working because it doesn't fit in its case. So even if, let me put on those glasses so I can see in there. Little screws. We'll screw it together. It's magnetic, this screwdriver. So we should be able to work it. Except that's not magnetic. So, this one might be. Nope. At least that one went in. Alright. If we can get another one in, sort of, but see that part right there. How much is the resistor? 330. Okay. Just looking. Just trying to get a feel for. Do we have another one laying around? I'm just looking at my battery selection. Because, you know, this one's been on and off for a while. So let's see, 5 times 5 equals 25. See, it's right there. But it dimmed out. I want it brighter. See, it got brighter with the resistance, but I'm guessing that it dimmed out because the batteries are dying. Which is a little bit of a bummer. You know, that the battery life is very short on this thing. Which is fine. I mean, we've been playing it for the last few hours, right? So it's expected for it to not want to live forever. I'm just looking for another battery. Look, it dimmed out on us. But now it's brighter, but that means if it dimmed out, it's going to need 2 more batteries. And we could leave it like this, right? Let me try bending it though. Try putting it 35 degrees. If it breaks, then is that 30? Yeah, it's about almost 35. I don't know. Sweet. That doesn't really do the justice that we want. We'll put these 2 batteries in since we know that they are the freshest. There's 1. There's 2. There's 1. There's 2. And then now, if we put this on, of course I have to wait for it to reset. It's at that angle that we want. Whoops, almost. Make sure it goes in its holes. Power on. See, much brighter. So those batteries were dying. We'll test them out. And then, even though we have the correct batteries, unless, you know what? Since it doesn't fit in here. Oh no, we can't. I was gonna say let's just screw it in. Like from the back. Unless we had some bolts that would work. But it's just not gonna fit. It might. If we do one button at a time. And then you just get it. Them to turn and jam without scratch. I don't want to scratch them. See? None there. None that one. Square root of something that was pressed. It just doesn't fit in its case. And even if it's jerry-rigged. Seeing it's at the 30 degrees over there, which is fine. Just don't want to break it, you know. That might work. But even if it did work, we gotta be able to get the buttons to work, see? That's weird because this is flush. See how that's flush there? And it's just not. So ideally I would just do this. Put it on here. Alright. And then screw it on there so it didn't hurt whenever you picked it up. You know? And then make sure it fits in there. Because that's where it's got to fit. But it won't even fit in there. See that? Because of that. So you can't do that. And then here, there's a screw back there. So even if we flipped it this way, see? You really can't make this up. At least we know it's not us, right? That's a good thing. And look, not enough space there. So even if we got it on, right? So that it fits perfectly in there, it's never going to close. That one went in. Maybe. Nope. Then you'll know it went in if you just tilt it. At least this one's magnetic, right? So we can hold that in and get it at the right angle so we can put it in the hole. then at least screw one in or two, right? We can screw the bottom ones. See, and then this one's not even, this was even one closed there. And then if we can, and then even if we get two screws in, it doesn't matter because we still have to get the buttons in. So even before we attempt to do anything, see? These buttons must be correct. Must be aligned. Otherwise, you get nothing. And they must be straight. And then that one, yellow, looks a little off. See? Yeah, and then this, if we can somehow finagle it to work, we know where the screws are. We know that that goes there. And this is incorrectly, which is good. All right. So even if we got that one, we can't even attempt to do that one without nice. We may have that one. But we'll just do it a little bit. No, we don't. We don't. Maybe got it. Got one, but a little bit in. But now we need to make some adjustments on the visuals, right? Now that we know that that's where it needs to be, this has to flow in there. But it won't flow. See? Without bending it. And even if we get it, it just doesn't fit. We could finagle it, all right? Remember, we have to bend, not bend, but rotate each one. Da, da, da. At least it works, right? See, that doesn't fit in there, and that's a design flaw. Look, and you can see the space right in between there. That it's never going to fit unless we work it, you know. See, now that's in. But even if we work it, and now it's screwed in, which is great, right? And it works. And then we can press clear. Right. But back button, which is delete, that works, which is great. But clear. It just doesn't fit in there. A little bit of a bummer. Right, don't you think? Like literally does not fit. And I don't want to break it. Yeah, it is what it is. Right? Let's unscrew it. Call it a day. Oops. Leave that there. Screw that. That should pop out now. See, it doesn't even want to fit because the numbers don't go on straight. See, that's clear. We can't even clear it because it just doesn't want to work. And then we bent it. What if we bend it more? You know, I don't want to bend it even more than what it. And like, literally. Well, it works. Let's try the 5 plus equals. Oops. Let's see if it does that basic calculation of multiplication. 5 plus equals. Maybe it's 5 times. 5 times equals 5. And then it should go, hold on. 5 times 5 equals 25. No, it doesn't. 5 times equals. I think it does it on a regular calculator. 5 times 2 equals 10. No, some calculators do like the multiple count, you know, just keep on counting like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. You know, this one doesn't do anything. This one doesn't even want to go into its own case that's designed for it. Let's see if this will work this way. Not even without the cover. Are you shitting me? Oh my god. Also, it's not me. All right, so that's good. All right, so it don't fit. Well, at least the calculator works, and everything else. Oh, look at that. That's flush on there. And well, why would it not fit? That sucks. Okay, so no matter how much I try, it's just not going to work. Look at that. That's flush for the screws. Wow, they really didn't think this through. That sucks. And that's without the LCD screen. Okay, hold on, I heard something. I didn't hear no bells. Let's see who it was. Not in the main chat. I think it might have been this chat. And you know, the last chat here was Emily. And then the last one here was, oh, it's in the main one. Interesting, but it's not showing. Oh, because YouTube is prioritizing the Instagram feed. Yeah, it's the only downside to Streamlabs is that you don't know who's people are talking to you, and you don't know from where, which is a bummer. You know, like you have all these. I'm waiting for it to load. No, nothing here. Interesting. Okay. I heard a ding, but I don't hear it. Oh, well, we have here. Should go live on Instagram. I should have gone live on Instagram, but it didn't. Anyway, for those who are just watching now on Instagram, oh, nope. None of the, it doesn't even fit into its own case with, out the LCD screen. I thought maybe, hey, it's the LCD, you know, maybe, nope, it's not. That's kind of messed up if you ask me. Let's take off a button. Let's see what happens. All right, it fits one fit that way. Okay, so they do fit, which is good, right? Sort of. That means each one must be perfectly aligned. And if they're not, it's never going to fit. So it doesn't just go on the way you think it would go on. See? It's just never going to go on. Let's see if It doesn't matter. Anyway, I gotta make dinner for my kids, and oh, not yet. I still got some time. What could be blocking it? This isn't even flush out right, and then this. Maybe. You know what? No, I was gonna say take all the buttons off, right? And then put the buttons on in reverse while the case covers there, but look at that. And that's without it. And that's with room. See, nothing's blocking, plenty of room there. It's the middle. It's about getting these. Should see what the reviews say on this thing. Probably says don't buy it. Yeah, at least the buttons are on correctly. Just have to figure out maybe a piece of wood, right, for there to make it look nice, or plastic, something non-conductive. Tinfoil. Tinfoil will short it out. Yeah, that is so wild. Like, maybe that one. Nope. Maybe that one. Maybe one at a time. But even if yellow. Up, down, square root, right arrow. Right. Nope. Yellow goes off. Aye, aye, aye. Yours is not working. It has nothing. What's in the middle? Like, I'm thinking, what could possibly be preventing you from going? Oh no, it is flush. Oh wow. Yeah, it just doesn't fit. Look at that. So if I were to screw it in right now, it would be flush. Wow, you can't make this shit up. Alright. No sense in fighting it, because it's basically design flaw. So even no matter what, even if it is flush, and the numbers are, whatchamacallit, everything is soldered up against the boards. We could try add some more heat and push down ones that might need to, like one maybe, but that's not gonna make or break the deal, because look, everything around it is flush, you know. And if it wasn't flush, it wouldn't really matter, because the buttons would protrude out more. So maybe push that one in more, but it's not going to get pushed in because not enough. It's not hot enough anyway. All right. So point being is that the buttons would just protrude more. It's just not going in. At least the calculator works. This is flush. That's how. So the bottom one's flush, and even with the bottom one's flush and the other one's flush, it still won't close. I have to see what people are saying about this one. But at least it works. It didn't come with all the correct parts, including its casing, but now we know. We usually wind up troubleshooting these things as history, lo and behold. Let's see, 5 times 3 should be 15, and then the square root of 15 equals square root of 15, so it can't do higher functions. All right, square root equals, let's see if we can, that's just the mode. Let's see if we can get out of mode and say 15 square root. Okay, it's 3. So it can do that. But it's too bad it can't do like this. Let's say on like a regular calculator. It's just basic though. Remember, this is for soldering. 5 times 5 equals, whoops, 5, clear it, 5 times 5 equals 25, right? And then square root of 25 equals, so you can't do that. I wonder if my phone can. It should, right? Because I think the Apple has a scientific calculator built in. Let's see. 34. Let's see, and then we'll go here, scroll down, calculator, and then we have 5 times 5 equals 25, and then if we turn it that way, where is our scientific? I thought it had one if you did it maybe there. All right, 25, and then let's see what the square root times 3. Plus minus minus times to the 3rd power, 10th power that we have there. No, we'll just pick any one. Square root. Okay. See? Well, again, this is the Apple scientific calculator, right? And then let's clear it. 25 square root. See? So you can't do you can't do advanced formulas and have it sort of pick up where it left off, but that's fine. Remember, this is soldering for beginners. At least our goal was to get a working calculator. Everything else is just the cosmetics. But as you can see, it does not fit in the case that was born to fit in. The bottom part, we might be able to use some sticky adhesive, right? And then doesn't even barely fits in here. But if we had some little screws, see, it won't even work here anyway. Can't make this up. It will fit in one and then another. I wonder if we can force it in. If we go over here, remember this is magnetic, which is great. And then if we do one in here, nice, that works. And then we'll just use it like that, you know. Hopefully, yeah, that worked. We got one in. Looks like there's a hole for another one. Sort of. Sweet. Right. And then we have, oh, nice, another hole. And now we can hold it and still use it, you know. Works out really well. Doesn't fit, and like we can't close it, but that's okay. But now we have a naked calculator, similar to like the naked 04, 03 unit. Test the parts before you put them in, because as you can see, they sent the wrong resistor. Maybe this is a cover for a future model, but even with the LCD screen off, it doesn't fit. So some of you might say, oh, it's probably because it's not at a full 30 degrees. It doesn't matter. It's at 0 degrees without that in there, and it doesn't work. It doesn't close. All right, so let's see. We'll go here. Alexa, set the timer for 1 minute.
1 minute timer started.
Okay, I just want to do just some 5 minus 2 equals 3, and then plus 4. So you can only do one problem at a time. It's got ADHD. That's it. And then you're done. But my goal here is that it kept shutting off after 1 minute. I'm sorry, after 30 seconds, even after we were in the menu. Like we went to menu after 30 seconds, and then it still shut off. And I want to see if after 1 minute it'll still work. 3 times 5 equals, and that's it. You can't do plus 5 would be 20. Equal, and it doesn't. So just it can only do one problem at a time. Remember, this is starting for beginners. This is still pretty cool. Be nice if the buttons like held evenly. Remember 30 seconds. We have to continue this. 4 minus 2 equals 2. Good. So it will shut off. Alexa, stop in 30 seconds, but apparently if it's almost about to shut off, it will shut off. And if we go to use it, you just need to...
Timer's getting a 30-second breather.
No.
It'll be back to you soon enough.
No, that's fine. Stop. Alexa, stop all timers. I hate that, the new Alexa. She's always listening. We could probably just... kind of reminds me of a Rubik's Cube. This is good. I could see us building another one. One with a case that actually fits on there. I wonder why it doesn't fit. It wouldn't fit with that in there, but even if I cut it. Alexa, stop. See? Alexa, stop listening to me.
There's a microphone off button on Echo Smart speakers, which electronically disconnects...
Alexa, stop. I just want someone to listen to me. She's still listening. Yeah, so even if this, remember, isn't on there, this won't close anyway. So for some reason, that's okay. It looks cool. Right, I can get rid of that, throw that away, and add this to our collection in the room of creations, right? I don't know why it doesn't. That happens though. At least we got it working, and you know what to do. When it starts to dim out, check the batteries, and of course the default resistor does not do justice. I wonder, we should have done it beforehand. That's okay. This is like apply more resistance, right? With less resistance applying. This one is a 1K. So like I wonder if I was gonna say, I wonder if I put 2 on there. It's hard to get that right angle. But the one we put in is pretty good. The one did justice and it got it working. I just wanted to see. Oh, you see how it goes? Oh, yeah. See? Went a little bit brighter. So adding... Again, you need the right resistor in there. You know, it's more than 30 seconds. That's why it shut off. But I don't have the right one. And if you buy one... it costs a lot of money. You know, you just need one unless you've got a kit that has different resistors in there. Let's see what happens if we... I don't have one around, but this will work. Let's add more current. See, could always short it out, but that's why you need the right one in there without breaking it. And as you can see, different, maybe put a variable resistor in there, right? And then that we can adjust the brightness, because that's definitely a 1K. We're not going to be able to get the measurements until this shuts off, you know, the exact current that's running through there, because you can't really do it with the power on. Shut off with the power on. Let's see what's running through there. And if we go here, yeah, it's the 1K, 0.99. So the one we should put a 300. I don't have a 300. That's the thing. See what happens when you turn it on. You can't measure it. See, it goes minus DC, and then you get what's running through there, 0.9. It goes fluctuates to it, but you know, we want the true reading of the components, and the only way to do that is to let that shut off. But it's still good, right? We got it to where we need to be so that you guys can see the display. It could be brighter. It's bright for me, but probably on screen it's not for you guys watching, but it's pretty well illuminated. But it could be better if it came with all the right parts, but at least we're able to troubleshoot, and that's where the meter like this comes in handy, or like the one we are sending to Bob 2025. And that is pretty much it. We did it. You know, it took some time and some troubleshooting to get everything working, but at least now we know that the case doesn't go on. It just isn't designed to fit on there for some reason. Definitely, we've never had issue like that with our 3D prints, but it is what it is. And the most important thing is that our soldering for beginners tutorial worked out just right for you, because we got a fully running calculator that works really well. Basic arithmetic and multiplication and just simple addition features, you know, that will work out just right for you. Just adjusting my chair so you can see me a little better. You know, it's a little home-brewed, right? This is for the Instagram feed, because the regular feed comes in fine. You know, very home-brewish, but that's what it is. It's a home-built calculator. Of course, the screws are, you know, in the opposite way. I might be able to put a short one in instead of a long one, as you can see, so you can hold it better. Maybe I'll try that and see how that works out, because I don't need one to be so long. So maybe that one or that one, right? And just run those through the holes, since whatever it came with just doesn't work or fit. So let's see, make sure that's the one, and then unscrew it. At least it fits in the hole, right? I'll let you guys watch this part, me stuff. So we're just putting a shorter screw in there that it came with for the LCD screen, but since it doesn't fit, even with it off, it doesn't really do justice. So now we're just, I could use, see, we're just going to put a shorter one in. And if that works, yep, see? Yay. And then when you hold it, it won't protrude out like it. That's pretty sharp if you ask me. So for this, it doesn't really matter. You can just turn them over and then let them fall out, and just take the other two for the LCD screen, whoops, and then just pop them in. And you have a cool, you know, thing you can bring to your science fair or wherever. Remember, 2 short ones. And then this is 1 short. Yep. Definitely going to do the collaboration with the wire strippers. I just have to choose one. And that is pretty much it. Voila. Now, when you pick it up, you won't poke your hands from the... See, these can't even stay straight anyway. But remember, it's homebrewed. You can plug this out. I'll sand that down, tint it up, get it ready for the next experience, and then I'll be ready. At least you guys know how to tint it. We usually tint these after the show, but I feel like this show just ran a little bit too long. But troubleshooting, you need a meter no matter what kind of soldering DIY project you're working on, because just when you think you have all the parts, you don't have all the parts, and just when you think you have everything you need, it turns out you don't, because you're always, you know, there's always going to be some sort of predicament between the parts, you and your equipment. And we have a backup soldering iron just in case that one actually did fail us. You know, always have a plan B. But this is really cool. We managed to make it work, and there it is. Do a simple calculation. 5 times 5 equals, yay, 25. Kind of neat, huh? Anyway, I hope this video helped you. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below, or ideas for other videos. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time. That's it. The show's over. I get to fly away. Brian, if you're still watching, you got your stuff. Brian, let's go. Make sure your meter works. We fixed it. Really good meter. Take care of it. It's going to a new home. And now that you saw this video, you know how to use it. I'm not sure if this box will work. If it does, great. Oh, nice. It does work. Just with a little bit of newspaper. Okay. Yeah. That'll work. might be able to take everything out of the bag and then just put it all in here. And then when you're single, your pockets jingle. You're a one-shot miner. And I'll just fill it with tissue paper. All right, and you'll get your tracking number tomorrow. This is ready to go. And if anybody wants this calculator, it works. It just doesn't fit into its case, but it is homemade and handmade on this channel. Comes with, I'll throw in 2 extra batteries, so you'll have 4 batteries altogether. Not those that died really fast because we used them while troubleshooting. But all you got to do is send $10 on the super chat via you know, the next live stream, and this will be yours. And we'll probably do like a bingo, right? The more people we get that, ooh, I want that, whatever stuff they send me, I will you know, have to do a raffle. But since Brian's the only one not Brian, Bob 25 is the only one claiming, he's got first dibs until someone else comes along. Interesting. It has like a little thing over there, but it still works. Sweet. All right. See you all next time.
It's a beautiful day at the beach. I was losing my mind for about a week until I could call you up. I'll meet you at the waterline. Birds are flying up above. We both need a little love.
Whoops, don't break your stuff.